and welcome back to Village Vibes, the podcast that tells you everything you've ever wanted to know about the city of Delray Beach. Today, we're being joined by our new Director of Neighborhood and Community Services.
Sure. I'm very excited to be here, and so thank you for inviting me. So I'm Jeri Pryor, and I moved to South Florida in 1998 from Oregon, and I grew up on a small farm, and so very small town, very close-knit area to very metropolitan city in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So I retired recently, city of Fort Lauderdale, and I came to Delray Beach after my retirement for more opportunity and a better chance to build better community in another area. So,
That's great. And
yeah.
so how did you first get into public service? What brought you into that field?
Sure. I remember, and people think I'm crazy a little bit, but I remember 6 years old meeting a motor patrol police officer. And I remember, like it was yesterday, that I was going to be a cop. At that point in time, I was going to be a cop. And so throughout my whole childhood, my teenage years, that's all I did was live, breathe, eat law enforcement. I became a cadet at 16. And so my public service started at 16 years old. And then from there, I did multiple municipal jobs, primarily in law enforcement, park patrol, park ranger, what was the other job I had? So 911 dispatcher, I was a reserve police officer in Southern Oregon, and I was a lieutenant for the reserve division, and so I achieved my goal of being a police officer at that point. So I started my public service, and I knew that at that point that was going to be my life mission, is to help build better community in what capacity that was. And at that time, it was law enforcement. And then when I moved to South Florida, I had just started a new family, and so I stayed out of law enforcement, and I continued my building better communities through neighborhood services, neighbor services, housing community development, code enforcement, what else? Housing for HIV and AIDS, homeless services, all the way through to being the chief of staff for an elected official. And that's how I retired at Fort Lauderdale, was helping the elected official.
So you're in charge of neighborhood and community services.
Yes.
And that department has a lot of, let's say, branches.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about each of the different branches, just so that our listeners can have a little bit of an overview?
Sure. So the biggest one, because it is Delray Beach, and it's the hot topic that everybody wants to seem to talk about, and it's code enforcement. That's one of the biggest divisions we have. The clean and safe division, and that focuses on ensuring our downtown is clean and safe. I oversee the sanitation division, which is managing our contract with waste management, as well as neighbor support and housing and community development. So it's a little bit of everything, all in one department, but the same mission and the same goal, and that is to serve the community and to build a better community through community enhancement.
So you're relatively new to the city. You've
Yes.
been here how many months now?
A whopping 2 months.
2 months. Okay. So what I really want to know is, what is your vision for this department? What are the things that you think you want to grow? Where are you focused right now?
Great. Good question, because I do have a vision, and it's going to take not only myself and the team in housing and community development, the team in code enforcement, clean and safe, sanitation, and it's also going to be engagement with the community. My vision for this department always is to be best practices in what we do, in all divisions. Right now, I'm trying to get more service out of the term public service, and that we are here to serve the public, and how can we do that while maintaining and doing our jobs as public servants. The only way we can do that is engaging the community and getting them involved and being part of our process. And I always refer it to as, you can't have community engagement from behind a desk. or in a truck or, not actually getting out and being visible and being available and then helping solve problems in community as a partner and as a collaborative effort as opposed to adversary and punitive. So my mission is to change that narrative and we are public servants and we are here to help serve and we are here to help build a better community no matter what community it is. And how can we be those resources to allow those communities to build and develop and them themselves take pride in their community with our help. So that's my biggest vision, and make it a best practices to where people then call the city of Delray Beach and say, hey, how did you do that neighborhood program where you got 150 people to come out and, clean the neighborhood or to go out and paint a house or to help, the elderly with cleaning up their front yards or, whatever the case is. But how do you engage the community to come willingly to help their community and to help where they live and to make a difference where they live. And I really believe that we have the right people and the right resources, and it's just engaging in the community. And I really think in my purview right now, that's been not necessarily lacking, but it's not translating correctly. And so I'm here to help transform that to where we're a team and we're all public servants, and that we're in this together and we can help build a better community no matter where you are or if you live on the west side, the east side, the north, or the south, we're here to help everybody.
I think our residents are really interested in being a part of the decision making and really interested in being in the conversation.
Yeah. Sure, and that's always a tough one, right? Because people see City Hall as, we can't make any difference being in City Hall because people are going to make their decisions in City Hall without ever considering our opinions. I work differently from that because I actually go to community meetings, I go to the HO meetings, and where are they meeting? Where are they engaging? Is it at a park? And then how do I help them be a part of the decision making? I ask them. What's going well for you in what we do to serve you? What's going well in code enforcement? What's going well in housing? What's going well in sanitation? What isn't going well? And tell me and be honest with me, because if it's something in my sphere of control that I can help change for the better because you have concerns, then I'm certainly going to do that. And I'm not able to do that without having that communication and that engagement. And so when it is something that I am able to help change and have that ability to create that change into where that neighbor was involved in the decision-making process, I then go and celebrate them, because without them at my table and without me at their table and breaking bread and having those conversations, I would never know that they had specific concerns about whatever issue that they're having in the neighborhood. I'd never know that unless I spoke with them. And I'll give you an example. So we have door hangers. Code enforcement has door hangers. And the thought process and the intent behind it was to allow homeowners to be educated as to, hey, this is a code violation, but, it's a warning. We're not going to do anything, but, we're going to come back and see if there's anything I can do to help you, right, to comply with that code. Well, as it turned out, it turned out to be punitive and not educational, meaning that there was a code case assigned to it, and then if you didn't do this, then we're going to give you a notice of violation. Completely the wrong intent. The intent was to educate, be proactive, but then in my purview, it was, that's not so much, that's not what the intent was. The only way I knew that was the feeling that the community felt was I asked them, what's going good? What's not going good? And that was one of the things they brought up. They said, you call it an educational piece, but when I call code enforcement, I've got so many cases against me, and all it was just advising. It wasn't a code case. And so there was a disconnect. And so because they brought that forward, I was able to talk to the team and say, can we change this? They're like, yep, absolutely. So now it truly is an educational piece. There's no code case assigned to it. It's not punitive. It's, hey, how can we help you get through this code violation without having to be a code violation, if that makes sense. They were very appreciative, the folks who I'd had the meeting with, and they were like, you're kidding. And I said, no, not kidding. It's done. We changed it because of you. So, and that's what I get excited about, because now it's that community effort, the collaboration, and it's like, you know what? I never thought of it that way. Thank you for bringing it up to my attention, because you're right. And so I was able to change that, and people were happy about that. So that's how I get them engaged in decision making. Now, sometimes we can't, because the law is the law and we have to move forward with that. But for those things like that, please come to the table. I'm here to listen, and I'm here to do what I can to make change.
Your department also does a lot of community events,
Yes.
right? Can you tell us a little bit about some of those different events that you guys do?
Sure. There's so many. So we just had an Adopt a Street program, to where groups can sign up and as a group and say, we want to come and clean a street. And so through our neighborhoods division, we help coordinate the group with the street that they want to clean. And it just happened just this last weekend, where one of the fraternities came out and they did a clean street, and they got bags, they got pickers, and they cleaned a whole neighborhood street. So that's one big program, and it's visible, and it's people giving back to the community. That's Adopt a Street. The other ones is the Shred Day. So we coordinate with Waste Management, so folks can come in every quarter and for free of charge, and to bring your documents that you need shredded for free, and we'll shred them. And that's a resource that the neighbors can take advantage of. We also do a lot of community events with the schools, with the kids, with the children. The sanitation department just had a Touch a Truck event, to where they were able to go and meet the sanitation division, and to meet some of the drivers and talk about what sanitation's all about, and get to see the big trucks and the community engagement with the schools, and helping educate them as to recycling programs and things that they can be involved at their level on how to give back to the community. So we have a lot of events. I'm willing and pushing my poor neighborhood planner to do more, because I think there's opportunity to do so much more in our community. More events, and they don't have to be big, huge events. It could be neighborhood by neighborhood, but it's involving those neighborhoods as to what their needs are, and how can we organize an event. We have contacts for volunteers. We have contacts for those volunteer groups that'll come in and help. And so that's kind of part of going back to what the vision is, and that's being that liaison to help the communities kind of meet their unmet needs, if that makes sense, and with more events and more community involvement.
Tell me a little bit about the long-term goals that you are establishing now for your department.
My long-term goals is longevity. I want longevity for our staff that's there, because so often you see, because there's a high turnover, and people, they come in, they get their certifications, and they leave. So internally, I'm looking to establish an area or a division, a department where people don't want to leave. They're happy to be there, and they're happy to serve the community because of the environment that they're working in. So longevity for sure. Again, that benefits the community, right? And so if you have longevity and you have employees that are there and they understand the mission of public service, and they're really truly there to give back to the community through their employment, that helps the community, because now they know who to call. And again, best practices. I'm looking at that transformational change, to where people call our department, people call Delray Beach and say, you know what, I heard your code division's doing great things. I want to know how you do it. I hear that your housing and community development is doing great things. I want to know how you do it. And same thing with sanitation and Clean and Safe. And I think the Clean and Safe program is amazing. I've never seen something like that before in all my years. And I just think, how can we then spread the word and the great things that we're doing and the impact that we're making in our community just by the resources that we have. And how are we improving those efficiencies with the resources that we have and still give back to the community at the level that I'm looking for? And again, that's involving the whole team. They're part of that decision making. They're part of, you know what, maybe we don't need to do that process this way. We can do it this other way and be more creative and innovative and think outside the box with what we have. And so I would love for the longevity and for Delray Beach to be the city, the department to look where best practices. Call Delray Beach. They know what they're doing. They've got that community connection. They've transformed what the perception of government versus the community, and now it's the government with the community. It's not us against them. And so that's my vision for the department. That's my vision for Delray Beach. My vision for the residents and stakeholders and visitors and everybody who comes to Delray is that this is a great city. This is a great place to be. I love the feel here, but we can't do it by ourselves. We have to be able to partner and collaborate and be in the community and engage the community in what we do, as well as what they do, right? Because they do community development and community building every day. It's just that, are they sharing the knowledge? And maybe they're not, because we're not out there. And now that's part of a big push that I'm doing in the department, is to be visible and to be available and to be helpful with our community. So,
well, thank you so much, and welcome to the city.
Yay, thank you.